speech has no space in civilized society. It's a settled principle. But is there a hypocrisy about what qualifies as hate speech and society's reaction to it currently in India? Even as the Supreme Court hears petitions against hate speeches made at Dharam Sansads in Haridwar and Delhi, rightly so, a group under the banner of Hindu Front for Justice has put in an intervention application. The application speaks of how Sar Tan Se Juda cries have been witnessed against the Hindu community in several parts of India, and some even resulted in violence. The application goes on to talk about how the Hindu faith is frequently mocked. The question then before the court and society and politicians today is, does this not constitute as hate speech as well? While any provocation is to be condemned, what about the cries for beheading? Why does it not invite the same kind of horror and condemnation? In fact, the application lists specific instances where not only have open calls for violence against the Hindu community been given, but also how they have resulted in murder like that of Umesh Kole and Kanhaiya Lal. Remember, a bounty was also put on Nupur Sharma's head, and at least 2 people were arrested, including one Pakistani who had been sent to kill Nupur Sharma. Further, the plea underlines how it is commonplace to make fun of Hindu customs and gods, and if commenting on one religion is called hate speech, then shouldn't the same standards be applied to all comments made on the Hindu faith as well? The question finally is, will the court be able to finish this hate speech hypocrisy, and isn't it time that everyone either demand parity in complete freedom of speech or demand the equal right to nurse religious hurt?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us on the debate, we have Vishnu Jain, a lawyer, as well as Advocate Waris Pathan, national spokesperson of the AIMIM. Vishnu Jain, I want to start by asking you, why did you feel the need for filing this intervention application?
See, the point is this, that in the entire hearing of the Supreme Court, it has been projected by certain groups and definitely the members of the Muslim community that there are instances of hatred and hate speeches and Dharam Sansads being conducted against them. So I also wanted to point out before the Supreme Court that this is not an isolated incident, and there are many instances where hate speech and all these incidents are taking against the members of Hindu community. For example, I want to ask a question today on your channel, whether this slogan, Gustakhe Rasool ki ek hi saza, Sar Tan Se Juda, is a hate speech or not, or whether any action has been taken by those mobs which have come in huge numbers and have raised this, have chanted these slogans, and actual crime has also happened after chanting these slogans. The judgment of the Supreme Court has time and again has said that the first point and the first principle is that whether the speech is whether the speech made by an individual is inciting violence, and whether in furtherance of that speech actual incident has also happened or not. So I pointed out instances in my intervention application where these kind of speeches have been made, and apart from that there are various comedians who have made fun of Hindu god and goddesses.
Okay,
there are
we will come to that in just a second. First let's start with your specific question to Waris Pathan. Sar Tan Se Juda is hate speech or not? Waris Pathan. Against the Dharam Sansad, there is multiple applications against hate speech against Muslims. There are multiple applications before the Supreme Court. But what about beheading calls? Waris Pathan.
Well, any call which calls for violence, which leads to violence, or which is hate, is totally condemnable, and I condemn all such kind of slogans, such as I also condemn Sar Tan Se Juda. Similar way, I also condemn the slogans made by during the Dharam Sansads people, wherein the call for Muslim genocides are given, Desh Ke Gaddaaron ko goli maro dash dash dash, or that Desh mein rehna hoga to ye kehna hoga. Any kind of slogan which leads to violence are condemnable. What is seen in the country is that almost every day in the name of Dharam Sansads call for Muslim genocide is being given. They are taught in Dharam Sansads to children that please leave books, pens, keep aside, pick up sword, kill the Muslims. No action against them. They take oath of the constitution, become the chief minister of state, but they say that this is a Hindu Rashtra.
Mr. Pathan,
this is unconstitutional.
Let me actually give you... No, that is not true. So let's remain true to facts. Let me give you instances, sir.
No condemnation against them.
Sir, leave condemnation. On the 15th of January, Yati Narasimhanand last year was arrested for making derogatory comments against a particular community during a 3-day Dharam Sansad. It was later in 7th of February that he was granted bail. Yati Narasimhanand arrested. After that, Jitendra Tyagi alias Wasim Rizvi was arrested on the 13th of January along with Yati Narasimhanand. After that, this man called Kali Charan was kept in jail for 3 months. He was arrested for making derogatory comments about Muslims in Raipur. Subsequently, there were people who were arrested for making derogatory comments about Muslims in 19th December 2021. So all of these arrests have been made. Do these people deserve to feel the heaviest hand of law? Absolutely yes. But to say that action against them hasn't been taken is misleading. Mr. Pathan.
Well, you are being partial, Padmaja. You have just given the names of Kali Charan, Narasimhanand. There are several Muslims who made statements which were hate. They were arrested. They have been sent to jail. So law is equal to all.
Sir, I will give you an example. I will give you an example where in Ajmer on the 10th of July, an entire mob came. Entire mob came, sir. Three people among the mob were picked up. 3.
Okay. A latest example I will give you, whether Padmaja will you agree with me, whether the nation agrees with me, I will leave it to them. Just recently, the Karnataka BJP leader made a statement that जो टीपू का नाम लेगा उसको खदेड़ दिया जाएगा, उसको ये कर दिया जाएगा. Does this not amount for call of direct hate? Is it not a hate speech?
Actually, what he has said, you're talking about CN Ashwath Narayan. He said कि टीपू की तरह इन लोगों को भी खदेड़ दिया जाना चाहिए, खत्म कर दिया जाना चाहिए. He apologized for it, and despite that, you should go and file a complaint. File a complaint, sir, and the law should deal with it. But that being said, my counter to you is...
File a complaint. What will the government do then? Yes. What will the government do if I go and file a complaint every day, every now and then? What will the government do? It is the responsibility of the government to ensure that this kind of statements are not made.
Okay, Vishnu Jain, answer this. Waris Pathan is saying that he thinks Sar Tan Se Juda is hate speech. But what about BJP leaders who are making such comments? The odd Yati Narasimhanand gets picked up. What about leaders who are in government in power? Their hate speech.
See Padmaja, I am an advocate practicing in the Supreme Court, and definitely I believe in the Constitution and the rule of law. So therefore, I am not going to make any statement here, or I am not going to segregate any individual because of his speech. If there is a principle on which I am arguing before the Supreme Court and I am debating before you, the principle is very fixed and very settled, that there has to be no hate speech against any member of any community by anyone, whether it be a Hindu, whether it be a Muslim. So the point is that when we are debating this issue, the main core of this issue is that why everyone is singling out those instances where hate speech and Dharam Sansads are being carried out by a particular group. Please, I am only requesting today before your channel and before you and before everyone that please make out a principle and take action against everyone who has raised hate speech. Do not single out members of any particular community. In my intervention application, if you will see and carefully examine, I have given instances of hate speech being raised by members of Hindu community, by Christian community, by Muslim community, which have been singled out. So as a citizen, as a lawyer, it's my duty to point out before the Supreme Court.
And Waris Pathan, you sitting on TV and are saying
my duty is to bring out...
I condemn Sar Tan Se Juda as hate speech. Answer me this, that on the 12th of June 2022, your Member of Parliament, Imtiaz Jalil, asked for the public hanging of Nupur Sharma. Is that not hate speech, sir? If you're saying that Ashwath Narayan should face action, what...
Middle of making my statement will not lead the debate anywhere. And if you are interested in heckling, you can go on.
Go on, sir. It's about
Allow me to make
Imtiaz
my
Jalil.
point.
Yes.
The statement made by our party MP Imtiaz Jalil, our party president, has clarified the statement, and he said that his statement was on his own and the party did not accept that. Clear. But when Parvesh Verma, the member of parliament in Delhi, stands up on the stage and says that we have to boycott the Muslims, did Modi condemn or the BJP, anybody condemn those statements? And again I will come to the Dharam Sansads thing. When they make a statement that, okay, Muslims should be killed, genocide, no one. Sadhvi Pragya Singh Thakur, she is the member of parliament from the BJP clan. She said, अपनी चाकू छुरी घर में तैयार करके रखो, तेज रखो, मुसलमानों के गर्दन काटने में काम में आएगा. She is a member of parliament. She terror accused. Any condemnation of word from the BJP were there? Did Modi condemn? Modi earlier said, मैं इसको दिल से माफ नहीं करूंगा. But when she makes such kind of statements, Padmaja, no word of condemnation, no action against them. And that is why this hate speech is taking place and increasing every day, every now and then.
Mr. Pathan, again let me ask you, is what Imtiaz Jalil said hate speech according to you, yes or no?
Is what Parvesh Verma said was hate speech, yes or no? Did the Karnataka BJP leader said, Tipu ka jo naam lega, usko khader diya jayega? Was it hate speech, yes or no?
Sir, I'm saying yes it is. Yes it is. Across the board, yes. Anyone who makes provocative statements, yes it is.
Yes it is.
The law should decide. Is Imtiaz Jalil's speech hate speech, yes or no?
Yes. Jail.
Sir, please file a complaint against them, put them in jail.
Why do you want to put words into my mouth? I am making my point.
No,
so let them,
but
whosoever gives a hate speech, there is law of the land. And let me give you an answer. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Our party's Akbar Owaisi made a statement which they said that it was a hate speech. He was taking treatment in London. He left the treatment, came to Hyderabad. He surrendered before the court. He was kept for 40 days in jail. After that, he came out on bail. He faced the trial for 12 years and today he is acquitted by the court of law after hearing both the sides. Show me how many BJP leaders have been sent to jail. Raja Singh is now out on bail. He's spewing venom every day in Mumbai. He came here in Maharashtra.
He was suspended, sir, as he rightly should be.
He went to jail. He came out on bail.
And he was given bail by court. Okay, let me again point out to you, sir. Let me again point out to you here. Here is the difference. Before Vishnu Jain responds, here is the difference, Mr. Pathan. You said anyone who says anything should be charged. But the difference in response, when Nupur Sharma spoke, the AIMIM said, and I quote, "We demand the immediate arrest of Nupur Sharma, her timely trial and conviction in accordance with law of the country." That's the stand on Nupur Sharma. What did Mr. Owaisi say on Imtiaz Jalil? And I quote, he said, "Our party has tweeted on Imtiaz Ali's statement. Since the beginning, I have said that Nupur Sharma should be arrested and punished as per the law. This is the party's official stand and everyone has to abide by it. This is the party's official stand." Not one word did he say that what Imtiaz Jalil has said is wrong. Not once did he say this is against the law of the country. Not once did he say that this is hate speech. That is the difference.
Coming in huge numbers and raising these calls, and actual instances are taking place. I am saying, I have put it on affidavit, that there are so many hatreds against the members of the Hindu community. There has been a temple which has been destroyed in Varanasi. There are instances of repeated blasphemy and hate speeches against members of Hindu community. So many instances. I put it on affidavit, Padmaja. Let me quote also one instance. On 17th of, and it is not just members of Muslim community, members of Christian communities. Kindly see, Padmaja, what they are teaching. 17th of July 2021, a Christian pastor, George Punaiya, he says, "But we wear shoes." Why? Because the impurities of Bharat Mata should not contaminate us. The Tamil Nadu government has given us free footwear. This Bhumi Devi is dangerous. You catch sabis from it. We are now majority in Kanyakumari district. From 42%, we have crossed 62%. Soon we will be 70%. You cannot stop us. I am saying this as a warning to my Hindu brothers. Now I ask a question, Padmaja, whether this is hate speech or not. Another instance.
Okay, wait, Mr. Pathan. This is religion agnostic. Vishnu Jain's argument is it should be everyone's feelings taken into consideration. He is quoting not just the Muslim community, Hindu community. He is saying any community. He quoted the example of Pastor Ponaya.
That is what even I said. That is what even I say. That is what even I say. Whosoever gives a call which leads to violence or creates an anarchy or is a threat for genocide must be taken care of by the police and let the law of the land take place, and he should be punished as per the law. Where am I? I am agreeing with that. I am saying that. But who condemns? We condemn. Did the BJP ever condemn? And you spoke about Nupur Sharma. What about the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court Judge? He said that because of Nupur Sharma, so many murders took place in our country because of our loud mouth. The country has shamed by so many foreign countries. Our dignitaries were called by the foreign countries. That was the observation made by the Honorable Supreme Court. And on that Supreme Court Judge, so many of the BJP leaders, they criticized. Could it not amount to contempt of court? Was any action taken against so many those people? Had Waris Pathan said anything against the court or the judge, I would have been charged for contempt by now. But no, they are having the privilege. They don't do anything against those.
Sir, you genuinely think that Umesh Kole or Kanhaiya Kumar,
this kind of incidents
is dead because of Nupur Sharma. All right. So Vishnu Jain, Waris Pathan is saying, I have no qualms in admitting that the same rule of law should be applied to everyone. Then what's the difference between you and him? None. You both agree.
Yes. See the difference. No, the difference is this, Padmaja. Still those sounds of Mr. Akbaruddin Owaisi reverberate in my mind, where he has made fun of Mata Sita, and I can't even quote it before your channel. That sound of Waris Pathan still reverberates in my mind, where he said 15 crore bhari padenge. That sound still reverberates, where his leaders have said कि 15 minute के पुलिस हटा दो हम देख लेंगे इंशाल्लाह कौन किस पे भारी होगा. अरे forget about arresting, forget about being acquitted. I am saying that your party is the main genesis. They are the main persons who have raised these instances of hate speech in India. And today you are taking a neutral stand. That's very good that you have changed over a period of time. But what about the fun which you have made about my God and goddesses? I can't even repeat those sentences here, Padmaja. About what his leaders have said against Mata Sita. Now you can take shelter. I am saying, Padmaja, something that you can take shelter. You can take shelter against the acquittal of the court. But definitely one day you will be convicted.
Action against them.
Waris
And I am also full and sure that you will take action against the Karnataka BJP leader who gave a strict call for killing of people who ever take the name of Tipu. I am sure that you will take the name of the Karnataka leader in Supreme Court and you will see to it. And I want an assurance from you that you will see to it that man is punished. And I want them to be punished. Kindly give a word. Kindly give a word of the national television, Mr. Vishnu, that you will ensure that he is punished.
Whoever is raising hatred in this country.
Yes. Whosoever.
No, you ensure first.
Yes, whosoever.
Start with the BJP leader. He
and
stated.
you will take action against yourself.
टिप्पू का जो नाम लेगा उसको खदेड़ दिया जाएगा.
इसका क्या मतलब होता है पद्मजा? आप मेरे को कोर्ट में बताइए कि विष्णु जैन ने कभी भी कोई हेट स्पीच दी हो. पर मैं तो वारिस भाई.
Every day in the name of Dharam Sansads, what steps have you taken? चलिए ना, अरे चलिए हमारे पे तो केस होएगा, देखेंगे जेल जाएंगे, फांसी पे चढ़ जाएंगे, वांदा नहीं है. अरे उनको भी तो चढ़ाओ ना फांसी पे.
हम तो कह रहे आइए, हम तो कह रहे आप भी आइए. आप भी आइए.
You are signaling out only one particular community. Why do you speak that what is happening in Dharam Sansads is condemnable?
No, I'm not singling out. Singling out has been started by AIMM.
सब चीज आप और मैं करेंगे तो सरकार क्या करेगी? If everything you and me will do, what will Modi do? What will the BJP government do?
Okay. This is a great idea. If really you mean what you say, Waris Pathan, you should become party to this application as well and say yes, the principle of hate speech should be applied even-handedly. But here is a concern that I have, Vishnu Jain, as a citizen. You know, the whole idea of this hate speech law, how then are we any different from countries which have the blasphemy law? Aren't we going down a very dangerous path where people will constantly feel hurt about one thing or the other and others will be put in jail for hate speech because it's very subjective?
See, Padmaja, the point your question, I'm so grateful that you asked me that question. The point is very straight. Your right to swing your arm ends where my nose begins. This is a very settled principle of law. I am not saying that there has to be no free speech in this country. Definitely we are governed by a rule of law country, and there are fundamental rights under our constitution flowing from Article 19 where freedom of speech and expression is the foremost right. But definitely those rights have reasonable restrictions. So when we we are talking about rights going with reasonable restrictions, we have a theory of check and balances. You cannot say that under the garb of free speech you will say anything about God and goddesses, you will say anything about like multiple calls of Sar Tan Se Juda. So the question is that there has to be a line, and when the matter is pending in the Supreme Court and this issue is being debated upon as to what is hate speech, so we are also trying to bring about instances to prove that these are the instances of hate speech. Definitely there are penal consequences under the IPC. Section 153A is there, 295A is there. So far channels are concerned, there are post publication remedies, but despite that the Supreme Court is trying to ponder about a proposition of law where these kind of speeches can be curtailed. And there is an example of Maharashtra Dharam Sansads where the Supreme Court passed an order saying that all these issues have to be videographed and it has to be stopped. So I am saying that it has to happen across the board.
All right, so either if we are demanding that there should be no law on hate speech, then that should be applied in an even-handed fashion, or if there is such a restriction that is passed on the issue of hate speech, that also should ensure parity. That is what anyone deserves in a democracy. And as a parting reminder, let's also tell you that while Raja Singh, who Mr. Pathan spoke about, was arrested, and rightly so, in Hyderabad, at the same time, there were 90 protesters in Hyderabad who were released after the intervention of Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi, when they had taken to the streets in the aftermath of the Prophet Rao and chanted Sar Tan Se Juda. That also is a fact. Parity is what people are asking for. Thank you very much for this nuanced debate. Mr. Waris Pathan and Vishnu Jain will keep a close eye on what happens in court. Thanks for watching.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.